Hey everyone. Okay, so yeah, much like the title, a lot of this chapter is focused on Kuma and Jinny's lives in Sorbet Kingdom and just building on their relationship, which, from my experience of reading the manga, I've always thought of it as largely familial with that undercurrent of desire for it to be something more. But this episode, clearly shows that there was that lingering feeling of something more than just familial love between Jinny and Kuma, but each had their own reasons for ever fully pursuing it, or at the very least, Prince Kuma didn't. Kuma had his reasons. In Kuma's case, it's his own fears that his Buccaneer blood is nothing but a curse. Even after being saved, even after living a life of freedom that he does, he in the back of his mind he always knows that his Buccaneer being a Buccaneer is like a curse, and he doesn't want to spread that curse. And he just doesn't want to see others suffer for the consequences because of that. Somewhere deep inside of him, he always felt he didn't deserve that happiness, so instead he chose the path of helping others achieve their own happiness, while just carving out a tiny piece for himself at best, whether that was as a pastor or as a member of the revolutionaries. Whereas or Ginny on the other hand, I think tried at best to be that rock to tell him he deserved his own happiness, but if she couldn't be with him, she'd be there to at least support him when she can. That in itself, I think, denotes the biggest tragedy to come, which starts at the end of this episode, where after joining Dragon and the Revolutionaries a couple years after, we learn that Ginny was abducted, and yeah, this is the start of where things spiral completely out of control for Kuma's life, and it begins to take that course that we would see it take with him, when it came to his association with the government. Aside from that, though, this episode did also give us a few interesting tidbits of lore. Mostly things I guess we kind of already knew to an extent and just got confirmation on. For example, we learned that when Kuma expels, we learned from Kuma's use of his pawpaw fruit power that when he expels something, he has to take in the pain himself. Otherwise, because if he doesn't, then the pain just returns to the original, to basically the person he expelled it from. And this is one of those things that very much tracks with events at Thriller Bark when Kuma had Zoro taken Luffy's pain, because he knew it was the only way to really save Luffy at that time. Someone has to be willing to bear the pain, to bear that pain. Otherwise, it just kind of returns to the original person. And again, Kuma's powers in a way really truly do bring new meaning to the term suffering for others, because Kuma has quite literally borne the pain of the world so others can live happy and free lives. And he's done it in some ways at the sacrifice of his own. I know in some ways he's found his own slices of happiness in life, but he has largely still kind of sacrificed his own happiness in a way in order for the sake of others. And another thing with this episode, though, is we also cover a bit of ground in terms of learning the first steps Kuma would take towards becoming Tyrant Kuma, as has been so often known. And yeah, as is often the case in One Piece, the reality is often much different than the story that's crafted around the legend in this world. Kuma's legend of being the Tyrant, in some ways, it really all started with his first act of rebellion against from the Sorbet Kingdom and the then ruler at the time, King Bakuri. When he attacked the soldiers in an effort to protect the citizens from basically becoming slaves. That was basically the whole fucking rule that King Bakuri had crafted. He basically became, as Ivankov himself even said, he became a puppet for the celestial dragons by doing this. And now obviously there is more to the story beyond just this one incident, obviously, but this is the first step towards how he truly became the Tyrant. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, hearing Bakuri's whole plan of separating the north and south parts of the island, treating those in the south like they're not even citizens and just slaves and animals to be caged. Yeah, there are so many historical connotations you can take from something like that, but I think the obvious in world and universe one, is the similarities to Gullah Kingdom and Great Terminal, except rather than kill the poor with fire, it's basically treat them again like they're animals to be caged. And I like how it does show. I like how like events like this do show that Kuma's life was in a way forged by revolution, since in a lot of ways, a lot of what started his journey on the path of being a revolutionary started with Bakuri's actions. That in itself allowed him to gain the resolve to truly fight for those who are oppressed, and him eventually reuniting with Vankov and joining Dragon only pushed him further in that direction. Like all of it was in a way fueled, but by with like all of his actions are in a way like fueled by Nika itself, but it was just choosing in order to take those actions that it led him down the path of revolution in a way. and yeah, the back half of this episode also gives us a bit of interesting insight into Dragon himself beyond just being the leader of the revolutionaries, as Kuma, while part of the revolutionaries, asks Dragon how he knows so much about how to use weapons and whatnot. And Dragon himself reveals that he was once a soldier of the Navy. So that does go a long way towards explaining a fair share of things. A lot of it about, well, one thing definitely about Dragon and Garp's relationship in a way, Dragon and Garp's relationship, and just kind of what what just led to the falling out. Like Dragon probably for a time did probably want to be in the good graces with Garp, who was his father Garp, but he ideologically just couldn't continue serving as a Navy soldier. but and yeah, obviously even beyond that though, the other thing that this does kind of raise the question once again people have been long asking for a while of like, who, if Dragon was in the Navy, then who is Dragon's wife, aka Luffy's mother? Because right now the common two threads people seem to be pulling from is that Luffy's mother is either a marine or a celestial dragon. But with the kind of background of Dragon being a former Navy, I am leaning more towards the former in terms of who Luffy's mother is. Now, but the thing is, these are one of those threads, like, I'm kind of wondering more and more if Oda is even going to pull from, like, if he's ever truly going to reveal who Luffy's mother is, frankly, or if it's just one of those things that just isn't going to be, like relevant in terms of narrative for him, because unless there's like some like huge bombast, some huge big intertwining narrative reason for basically Oda in order to reveal Luffy's mother, I kind of have come to believe at this point that I wouldn't be surprised if we never learn who Luffy's mother is, simply for that fact alone. Like, unless Oda has a consequential reason in order to reveal who Luffy's mother is, I don't think we're ever. I've come to the realization I don't think we're ever going to learn who she is, frankly. And saying that though, there is an interesting character appearance in this episode, but with a man named Gyogyo. Because yeah, for those who are wondering, that Gyogyo is the same man who was alongside Bonnie when she made her first appearance in Sabo Odi Archipelago. And yeah, it's a tiny bit of world building that shows just how entrenched the roots of the Bonnie pirates are to Sorbet Kingdom. Like, they all, like, the pirates who serve in that crew all came from there. Now it's just a matter of where Bonnie herself comes into the picture. Although, again, with hearing Ginny's been abducted, I'm sure many anime onlys can use their imaginations of how that probably happens now. Like, again, not going to say too much more beyond that, but yeah, if you, as Mori would, in this situation, as Mori would say, Kuma, You are not the father. That's all I'm going to say on that. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe for my Blue Sky, Analyst Crunchyroll, be sure to push the subscribe button, and just share it around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, everyone.